Hi. So what you're looking at here is a one-page adventure for FantasyAGE, and it's set out in a sort of trifold leaflet format. So it uses both sides of a single sheet of US letter. So this third panel is the front cover, and it's a title, logos, legal stuff. So the main adventure is on the inside, and this is the inside of the little brochure. Now, this is a Dyson Logos map, and there are four locations detailed in the text, and these are marked with the star, the plus, X, and Z. Everything else is just kind of you've got a generic description of the state of the tower, so you can just improvise stuff from using the map and just the general feel of the place. But what you get here is a short overview. It's designed for characters of first to fourth level. It has a kind it can be dropped into any kind of small town or village or on a road. Then in the background, it gives you who the main creatures are and where to find the stat block. And there's one creature that it actually uses a modified stat block, and I tell you the changes to make later on. I then go on to, so the background includes the kind of plot hook to get your characters involved, and then I define individual encounters. Now there's 6 of them, and the reason I'm not numbering rooms and locations for you to, so the characters have to go, in through the entrance, then up the stairs and round the corner and up the stairs, whatever. Um, each encounter explains how and when it would come into play, and how it might. Some of them interact with other encounters. And what I'm trying to achieve is a non-railroad format. So, you encounter one here describes how the serpent folk are going to enter the town. But if the characters aren't in the town, or they tuck themselves up in bed in the inn and don't go out, encounter one just isn't going to happen. Encounter 2 is on the road. If the characters don't go up the road, they're not going to encounter encounter number 2. But the serpent folk that would have been there will turn up in a later encounter if they're still alive. And so it goes on. There's a group of serpent folk on the roof. Now, depending on the skill tests and whether observed or not, or the approach taken by the characters, that may come into play or not, and so on. So it's not a railroad. It's more a case of here are potential set pieces. Let your players explore how they would, and then use the ones that come into play. So moving on to the back panels. So you've got a couple more encounters. Encounter 5 explains about the annotations on the map, and if the characters become captured by the serpent folk, encounter 5 is where they will wake up, and where the adventure goes on from there. So that again may or may not happen. And then there's a little bit about the general description of the tower, and then there's a part about a child and the merchant who they're part of the plot hook and the resolution. Now, I have intentionally not given you any details about the NPCs, because for a start, the NPCs, you may want to reuse an existing NPC to create more of an emotional bond for the players. So you can swap in your own NPC very easily. Also, changing the nature of these 2 NPCs changes the nature of the adventure. You could have a merchant that is, really uncaring, hard-nosed, and is quite happy to sell out the town for their own profit. You could have one that's been absolutely crushed by the loss of their child. Now, when it comes to child, it you can set ages. If you've got an old merchant and a adult child, you still maintain that adult child relationship, but the child then becomes another competent NPC or potentially competent NPC to involve in the adventure. If the ages are younger, then having a child that's the kidnap victim becomes far greater urgency to the whole adventure and the rescue. So you can decide, the nature, the personality of the merchant, and the relationship to the child, their offspring, and fine tune the feel of the adventure for your players and the urgency, when you actually choose to run it. So that's what you get. It's just the 2 pages, back and forth, the map, and you you play the encounters which make the most sense to you, depending on how your players react. Now, on the product page for this, you can read the entire adventure in the quick preview, so you should know exactly what you're buying before you buy it. Okay, thank you for watching.